Your students just took the challenging Chapter 5 test and they are anxious to see their grades. You've entered the scores on the Scoresheet and they're published online. While the results are available, not all of your students have access to the online portals. You also want to include the grades students received on the Chapter 4 test so that they can compare their performance. How can you put together an anonymous printout that includes students' grades on both tests without spending a lot of time on it? The answer is to use the Scoresheet report. Let's see how it works. From within Unified Classroom, begin by clicking Analysis. From the Analysis menu, click Reports. Then select Scoresheet Report. On the Criteria tab, define the information that will be included in the report. First, change the title to Chapter 4 and 5 Test Results. Since you were working with your pre-calculus class when you opened the report, the pre-calculus class is already selected. To make the report anonymous, include student numbers on the report rather than names. Open the Student Field menu and choose Student Number. So that students' numbers are sorted out of sequence, open the Students menu under Sort Options and choose Random. You want to include only the assignments in the test category, so open the Categories menu and check Test. Click outside of the menu to close it. To include students' final grades for the current term, use the default setting for the Final Grades menu. As you want results for only the Chapter 4 and Chapter 5 tests, open the Date Range menu and select Manual. Enter the date range when the two tests were administered. As only the Chapter 4 and Chapter 5 tests were offered during this time, they are the only results that will appear on the report. By default, the report will include all of the students in the selected class. Since you don't need to change that setting, you don't need to navigate to the Students tab. Instead, click the Format tab. Use the options on the Format tab to configure how the data will appear on the report. First, since the report will include scores for only 2 assignments, change the page orientation to Portrait. You want to create a printout rather than work with the data in Excel, so use the default setting of PDF for the report output. Although you may use a little more ink, the report will be easier for students to read if alternate rows are shaded. So make sure the Exclude Row Shading checkbox is clear. Since you don't need to include any notes or a signature line, use the default settings for the rest of the fields and click Run Report. Depending on how your computer is configured, the report will be saved as a download or it will open in your browser. At the top of the page, you see the report title and the class name. In the body of the report, the first column lists the students' numbers and the second column lists their final grades for the selected term. The last 2 columns list their scores on the Chapter 4 and Chapter 5 tests. When a student doesn't complete the tests due to absences or other reasons, the cells are blank. Now you can print the report and post it in the classroom. Remember, to run the Scoresheet report, click Analysis, then click Reports and select Scoresheet Report. On the Criteria tab, define what information will appear on the report. Select the students you would like to run the report for on the Students tab. On the Format tab, configure how the data will appear, then click Run Report. In just a few steps, you were able to put together an anonymous printout of your students' grades. And although you no longer feel anxious about how to post the results for them quickly, some of your students may feel more nervous after reviewing their results.